Okay, this is part 2 of my vegetable patch planter box. As you can see, I've got the top on now, and the top part of the mesh lifts up and down so I can get to the veggies, but it also keeps the pests like birds and my cat from digging around inside it. So if you want to learn how to make the top half of the planter box, stay tuned, we'll show you how. Cheers! Okay, so these are the things you're going to need for this project. Safety gear for cutting the wood, eye goggles and earmuffs. Measure the wood, we're going to need a measuring tape and pencil, set square to just get those cuts plumb. Once again, I'll be using the Feast Watson Timber Deck Stain, Black Japan. Next I'll be using some little fixing clips to fix the wire mesh cage to the top so it can open and close. Staple gun to fix the mesh to the frame. Wire cutters to cut the mesh to size. Once again, I'll be using the Craig pocket hole jig to screw in to the wood to fix those pieces of wood together. Drills to cut those guide holes, and a screwdriver to screw in the screws. Next I'm going to be using a saw, but you can use a hand saw if you don't have one like this. 2 lengths of 2.4 metre long treated pine, and these are 70 by 45, so a little bit narrower than the previous frame. And lastly, some wire mesh. I've got a low weight grade one there that's I'm going to use for the back and the side, and a heavier grade mesh that I'll use for the top lid, so that won't bend as much. Okay, let's get to it. Okay, so here's the cut list. We're using 70 by 45 millimeter lengths. We're going to need one length of 1.45 millimeters, 2 400mm lengths for the height, and a couple of 808 millimeter ones for the angles. So here's the base of the planter box that we made in the previous episode. Please subscribe and go back and check that out if you haven't seen it already. Once we've got that in place, we'll put the square frame on the back, then we'll put the angle pieces down the side, and once that's in place, we'll cover it in mesh and be ready to plant those veggies. Okay, so first I'm going to measure my 1.45 metre length. Next we'll use this piece as a template to cut my next piece so they're exactly the same. Now I know that angle pieces are going to be roughly 808 millimeters long, so I'll cut 850s out of this one. And we can cut them to size in a minute. Okay, so all my pieces of timber are now stained. Our next job is to cut the Craig pocket hole screw holes into the ends of the uprights. So I'll be putting 2 holes in the end of each of these 400mm pieces. Okay, so the Craig pocket holes are now drilled, and I'll be ready to screw that together now. I might just put a few dobs of stain in those drill holes so they're not visible once it's put together. Okay, so that fits on perfectly. Now all I have to do is screw that onto the base. Okay, so that's on. Okay, as you can see, this piece of wire mesh is a bit bigger than the back, so I'll just cut it down to size using a pair of tin snips. There is a little gap at either end, but that'll be enough to keep any pests out for now. Okay, so now I've got my wire mesh cut to size. I'll just attach it to the rear of the frame with a staple gun. Okay, so now the wire mesh is stapled onto the back of the frame. I'll start making the sides. Okay, the next thing we need to figure out is how to cut the side pieces to get the right angle to sit flush with the bottom and also the vertical. The easiest way to do this is if you've got a couple of clamps, we can just hold Once you've got your piece put into place and held by the clamp, you can easily just draw a line along the inside and down the vertical. And that way you'll get the correct cut for that angle. Okay, so now I've got some pocket holes drilled in the sides of my angle pieces, just one in each end, and I will screw those into place now. Okay, now the sides are put on. I'll just show you up in here with one screw at the top and one screw at the bottom. One at each end will be enough to hold the side supports in. Once you've got those into place, you may find that the top may be hanging over a little bit, or at the bottom. So I've just used a wood rasp and just smoothed off those edges. And I'll just use a bit more of the deck stain now to finish those bits off. Okay, the next job is to put the wire mesh onto the sides of the cage. So the best way to do that is to use a marker, trace out what you need, and then use the tin snips to cut it to size. Once you've done that, we're using the staple gun to staple it on the inside of the frame. Okay, the last piece of the puzzle is the top lid. So we're going to cut this to size using our tin snips and then hinge it off the top rail using these fixing clips. Okay, so there's the final product, and I'll just show you how I fixed the top piece of mesh on. So I've used these fixing clips that I got, so I'll just give you a closer look at those. So it's just a bent piece of metal with a hole through, so you can fix a screw through into the top deck, and I'll put 3 of those along the top. And now I can just lift the lid up, and in you go. So that'll keep the pests, the birds and the cats out of your veggie patch. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, as I'll be putting out a few more videos on things you can DIY at home in the near future. Cheers guys.